let's talk about probably what is the biggest news thing from this week, I'd say. So Microsoft and the many rakes that we've stepped on this year, they've stepped on another one.
Can I just say, why does this keep happening?
I don't know.
It's the same thing every time.
It is, and it just seems. I actually saw somebody pretty prominent had posted something on Twitter where it was a prominent, like one of those, not Jason Schreier, but one of those types.
Yeah.
Like obviously they got their ear to the ground. They talked to a lot of people, but their comment on this move and this marketing campaign was, "This is the biggest thing that echoes 2013 that we've ever had."
Yeah,
just completely disconnected from what people are looking for in this space. And it is. So what they've announced, and it makes sense for their push right there. Their whole push is like, well, we don't really care about you playing on our console because you can play our games in all these other places.
Right. So
the marketing push is, it's really fucking stupid.
It's bad.
It is. This is an Xbox or this is not an Xbox. And they have like pictures of like, there's a Steam Deck. There's a computer, there's a TV, there's a bento box, there's a litter box.
There's a VR
One
headset.
of them is a litter box.
Yeah.
And they'll say, like, this is an Xbox. This is not an Xbox. And the whole idea, obviously, behind it is to let people know, like, you're going to be able to play these games anywhere, because they're really pushing again into the cloud, which I still don't think is there.
Still doesn't work, but okay.
I would not subscribe to Game Pass today if I did not own an Xbox to play any of these games in the cloud.
No,
I think that would be a very poor decision.
That's why I don't have a Game Pass subscription.
You tried it with your Xbox.
I tried to do Starfield on my One X, and it could not handle it.
Yeah,
and that's with a hardwired connection, like with good internet. It could not handle it.
It's just it's a bad look. I don't like the marketing campaign. I think it's stupid.
The picture, it's confusing.
It's confusing as hell.
It's like, is my fridge an Xbox that has a screen that could have a screen in it? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah.
It's not clear.
We got one email about it. I'm gonna read really quick.
Okay.
Tim from Dallas, Texas. Hi, guys. I wanted to write in regarding this brand new marketing campaign that Microsoft kicked off today. This is an Xbox. What are they thinking? This just furthers the idea of their terrible mixed messaging to consumers. I think at this point, we all understand and get that Microsoft has realized they are a distant third behind Sony and Nintendo. And I'm not even necessarily mad at the idea of the marketing campaign. But what gets me is how terrible it comes across to your average consumer that is going to be confused. I couldn't imagine working in retail anymore and having to explain to parents and grandparents this holiday season the idea that someone can just use their cell phone or a streaming app to their TV to play Xbox. I still really don't think we are there yet as far as cloud stuff goes, but Microsoft seems to be hell-bent on pushing this marketing anyways. And I agree. So, there will be those people, though.
Oh, for sure.
100%.
We talked about it last year with the Portal, where people thought it would just be a PlayStation.
This is worse.
This is much worse. Because if that comes up on grandma's Facebook feed because her phone heard her say the word Xbox, because that's how it works.
That's how it works.
She's going to think, well, Timmy wanted an Xbox for Christmas. This says anything's an Xbox. So what if I just buy him this VR headset or some dumbass thing that they put like? So the biggest problem I have with this marketing thing is it comes in another classic bad time of Phil coming out and like talking down a point that just came out again, where now he says, well, everything's back on the table to go on PlayStation.
Yeah.
2 weeks ago, they said everything's off the table. Yeah. Like, this plus his statement further proves that no one there knows what the fuck they're doing or what the plan is, and nobody there talks to each other.
Matt and I literally had the conversation in the last podcast episode when you weren't here about how that thing had just come out. And I told him, I said, I bet you that means franchises like Gears and Halo will probably not come out.
Right.
And then Phil Spencer comes out and says,
and that made sense.
That makes sense.
But now he literally comes out and says, well, we could. But that's after they already kind of said that they could, because they were reevaluating. None of them talk to each other. None of them.
No.
Not at all.
And we're talking about Microsoft, the company that invented Teams, the worst inter-office messaging system of all time. So they all have to use it all the time.
Mm-hmm.
No one is talking.
No.
Or if they are, they're not listening, or the guy who's above Phil has no fucking clue what an Xbox is. And maybe he came up with the marketing and says, "What is an Xbox?" And they were like, "That's fucking brilliant. Everything is."
I feel like that is part of the woes that we've had in the last year. Is like I've said all along. I think that guy Satya Nadella, I think they sat down at some point 5 years ago where he was pitched the idea of Game Pass. And he said, all right, you have X amount of time to make this profitable, make this work. If it doesn't, I'm going to step in. And I think that's what happened.
And the biggest problem is Game Pass, I think we all know and everybody knows, it's never going to be profitable.
It's never going to be profitable, but I think
it cannot make the money back.
Well, and I think that's the problem we're running up against now is like Phil Spencer knows and understands the business, but those above him do not.
Right.
And that's why I think you keep seeing this back and forth push and pull.
Other people say stuff, and then Phil has to come out and be like, no, that's not what it meant. But by that point, the damage is done.
It's done. Yeah.
And then he's got to do cleanup, and he sounds like the idiot because he's the one who has to do the cleanup.
That's the sad part.
And talk about like, well, no. And he can't just be like, well, that guy doesn't know what he's talking about. He has to be like, well, I don't think we're having internal discussions about blah, 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 when they're not. Because it's clear there is no plan. They bought Activision, finally got that settled, and then they started. And then you saw the other thing where, like, they cut Tango and they cut all these other people, and then he says, "Well, we're looking at buying more Asian studios." What the hell are you talking about?
It's such a stupid thing.
You just cut one that made a game people liked, and somebody else bought them to keep them alive.
Did you see his comment on the PS5 Pro?
Oh, he did. Yeah, it's kind of like a comment. Like
his comment was just essentially, we don't need to. I don't think you gain more people by having $1,000 consoles.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong though. That's it. When he said that, I was like, he's not wrong though. Like,
but you can't say that when you're in third place.
Yeah.
You can't go out there and be like, I don't think that's a smart business decision when you're losing. And you're losing every week. You're finding a new way to lose.
That's the problem. Like, the one thing is like, while they are losing, it's not like they're circling the drain. Like, they're making more money.
It's also not like they don't have the tools in place to make money. They're just not doing it.
There's just certain things that they could be doing that it seems laughable that they don't.
Right. We went through this thing.
Exclusives.
Exclusives is a huge thing. They don't even bother anymore.
Even in the ecosystem, like, okay, you need to get Game Pass. To have something like keeping something like Gears and Halo exclusive would be big enough if you actually made a good one. Like Halo is out the window, but Gears E-Day.
Right.
I'll go all in on that.
Why?
If you
why aren't
say
these
that
games
game is exclusive? Hey,
but why isn't a new Gears game coming out every 3 years? Why isn't a Halo game coming out every 3 years?
That also goes back to the mismanagement of all these studios.
Where's the Forza game?
Weird too.
Where the fuck is Fable? Yeah. Like, why aren't these games coming out?
Perfect Dark. No.
Perfect Dark. Like another. I don't think that means as much, but that's another example of like,
another example.
Where the fuck is it? Like,
Fable,
where is all this stuff?
Those one of those big games has to come out next year, right? Fable, or like
sure. Fable has to come out,
and it
right?
kills. What kills me is then the most recent thing from any of these studios that was shown in the last week. I don't think I put it in the news, but that South of Midnight game, which that game looks cool.
It's interesting, but
here's my point: it was announced and will come out in a shorter span of time than Fable, Perfect Dark, the next Gears game,
Avowed.
Like, why is that?
Announced in shorter than in a shorter amount of time than it took to fix Halo.
Yeah, Avowed's a good one too. Yeah.
Like the whole thing is crazy. Like they're finally going to have Indiana Jones next month, and then it's just going to be on PlayStation in a couple months after that.
When do you think February? Do you think it's that fast?
What?
Indiana Jones.
I bet you it depends on how well it does.
Okay.
Because think about this. It's not going to sell copies on Xbox.
No, and that's the thing. I think that they will push to have it out sooner because they want to sell copies of it. Even though they do have a collector's edition, I think they're doing the same thing they did with Starfield, where it's like if you buy the season pass, which is going to have some extra stuff, you can play it 3 days early.
Wow.
That's $35.
So exciting.
So, but
they're just every week it's something else.
It's something new. It's something new and something dumber.
Yeah. Well, and then I'm sure you probably put this in the news later, but since we're talking about Microsoft, might as well talk about it now.
Sure.
The handheld thing is basically confirmed finally, because remember, it's never really been like, oh, we're for sure making it. But now it seems like they finally admit it, but it's going to take a couple of years, which probably means at least 3.
But that would line up with what I've said is I think that thing probably launches with whatever the next console is.
Sure, but they're also not in a position to wait 3 years to release another console.
I'm still saying it's 2026. That's what I'm thinking.
I would hope so.
And I think they go early. And I think that's the other reason why you're not getting the last time Xbox system.
The only time they ever won a console generation was when they went early.
Yeah, and I think that's why they would.
Yeah. They released the 360 early, and they as someone who worked retail and saw it firsthand, they dominated. Like, it wasn't even fucking close. But people in revisionist history will try to tell you that, like, oh, by the end of it, the PS3. Nah, dude, nobody bought PS3s for years.
But the other reason why it caught up is because worldwide,
sure,
PlayStation's a bigger brand than Xbox. So,
but in America, nobody bought PlayStations.
In America, like 3 years. You had like even someone like me who was pretty much a PlayStation person until the 360. Like you had a lot of those people that was the natural next step was I'll get a 360. And even though I will argue there were good launch titles, like Condemned's a great game, but in that first year you had Gears of War.
Didn't you have Oblivion too?
You had Oblivion, so you had Condemned, Call of Duty 2, and Perfect Dark Zero for lack of a better game.
Revisionist history, good game.
You had in March of 2006, you had Oblivion,
huge,
and then that following fall, you had Gears of War.
Yeah,
and that was what went up against the PlayStation 3 launch, which had what Lair?
Awful, Genji,
so like some sports games,
the bad Untold
Resistance.
Legends.
Yeah,
Resistance was about the only good game until Uncharted came along.
Yeah, and Uncharted I think was like spring of the following year, right?
Yeah,
that was first.
But even then, the first Uncharted game we've talked about it before. It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Like for me, like not to go on a rabbit hole in the Uncharted games, like the one that I always liked the most was 4. And that's because that's the first one I really felt like the shooting they finally got.
I just felt like that franchise got infinitely better as it went along.
It got better gameplay.
I like 3 a lot.
I always thought the writing was good,
and the writing was great too.
3 was pretty good too.
I was talking to somebody about it today. It said this is another quick tangent, but you know, Naughty Dog's next project really should be remake 1.
It's been enough time you could do that.
I think you could remake 1 to be more like 4. Because remember, 1 is really like janky, and you got to remember
when I went back in that collection
thing, I was like, "Ooh, this game's rough."
It was rough,
but
it was rough for sure.
But yeah, just to get back to Xbox, like we're back on this, nothing's off the table thing. If nothing is truly off the table, put out Master Chief Collection and just do it.
I want that to happen.
Don't understand anymore.
If you're telling me that nothing is off the table, then drop that one.
Right.
And I think the reason they don't is because I still maintain if Halo is going to come over, I think they hold it until that remake of Halo 1 in 2026. That's what I think.
I guess so. But the thing is him saying nothing is off the table. There's still stuff that's off the table.
Oh, yeah.
Like, sure. I guarantee you Forza will never be on a PlayStation system. It just won't. Because PlayStation has Gran Turismo, I think that's even though everyone agrees Forza is a better game
at this point,
than either of those. That's still a like direct competitor.
Yeah,
Halo and Gears.
There's nothing
they
really
don't really have direct competitors.
Yeah,
like PlayStation Killzone's a dead franchise. Resistance is a dead franchise.
Yeah.
Like they have abandoned making those games.
They are straight up on Horizon and God of War.
There is plenty of room
and Astrobot
for Master Chief Collection to be on PlayStation, be charged $70, and it will sell like crazy.
I would buy it.
I would buy it right away.
As shameful as it is, I would buy that at full price.
I bet you it would look real fucking good on a PlayStation Pro.
You know, they still haven't confirmed if Indie's going to have PS5 Pro support, but I'm sure it will.
It will.
It will. They don't
It's
care.
weirder that games don't at this point.
It would be weird that it doesn't, because the way I look at it is okay, but you can already run it better on a PC, so who cares?
Right.
Like, that's the same argument I would make for any of those. Like, it doesn't really matter. So it'd be crazy. To me, it would be crazy, though, if they did that. They put out Halo Master Chief Collection for PS5 Pro and there's a badge for it.
It'd be great.
That'd be good. I'm into that. So
it's on the table.
Next email we have comes to us from Adam from Fort Wayne, Indiana. Hi, 572 guys. What do you think? What do you make of the continued mixed messaging from Microsoft on exclusives? Just in the past 2 weeks, we've gone from hearing that certain games are off the table to nothing is off the table again. It now seems pretty definitive from Phil Spencer. There is nothing that is off the table. So do you think it really means that we'll see Halo and Gears on PlayStation platforms in the future? I mean, we kind of talked about it earlier.
Yeah, but to go more into it, like my thought would be, it would make sense for them to release older games for it, but not the newer ones. Like, don't put a new Halo on it. Put Master Chief Collection on it. Don't put E-Day on it. Put Gears 5 on it.
That would make sense.
You can, that way you can still keep your exclusive and be like, if you like Halo and you can play the MCC on the PlayStation, but if you want Halo, we'll just call it 6 or 7, I guess. 7, you got to play it on Xbox. You know what I mean? Like, that would be a way to keep the exclusivity, but allow yourself to put these games on other systems.
It would.
Just don't give them the new ones. You're already doing that to your own fucking customers on Game Pass. Why not do it to the PlayStation people?
Well, and I would also argue in the sense of Gears, it'd be the same thing as Halo Master Chief Collection.
Right.
You telling me that if all of a sudden tomorrow, hey, here's Gears of War 1, because they did that remaster, right? Mm-hmm. Here's Gears of War remastered out on PlayStation. Yeah. That wouldn't be the number one selling game on the digital store for the next 2 months.
Or I talked about
have all of those bros from that era that, like, I had a 360 and played Gears. I want to play that again.
Or I talked about how I don't think they would ever put Forza on there, but I could see them putting like a Forza from 3 years ago on there and just seeing what happens.
Like, here's Forza Horizon 4.
Yeah, just put Horizon on there. Done. And just see what happens. Yeah. Because in that way, at least Horizon is different enough from Gran Turismo too. Like, they're not the same game.
Horizon, yeah. I think if you put the regular Forza out, they're too similar. But Horizon, you could get away with. Mm-hmm. Again, the biggest argument I have for that is Master Chief Collection. Like, just do it.
Just
that right there is going to print them money
all the time. I don't get it.
It will print them money.
What the hell do you care about that game anymore? You're not.
It literally turned 10 yesterday.
At most, you might remaster the first one. They're never remastering 2 or 3 or 4 or Reach. Like, they're just not.
So yeah, because it was the November 9th was the 20th anniversary of Halo 2. The 14th was the 10th anniversary Master Chief Collection.
Right. And it's like it's fixed.
You
don't need to do a single thing to it ever again.
No,
put it on PlayStation. $70.
Put it on PlayStation, make it crossplay.
Yeah.
For
done.
I mean, fuck, make it crossplay for the co-op.
Right.
Who cares?
Crossplay the whole game.
All of it. Yeah. And especially now, like, you can put it, because remember, even though it's called the Master Chief Collection, it also has Reach and ODST.
It has everything free 5
you want to play.
Yes.
It has all the important ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because 5's not an important game. You don't want that coming over.
No.
And Infinite is Infinite.
No, but it just makes so much sense. It's not like they're actively making money off of an Xbox now. You think people sign up for Game Pass to play that? They're not.
No. And I mean, obviously the collector in me would want to see a physical version of it come out, but like, at the same time, if that was the price I had to pay, it's digital only, I wouldn't be upset.
That's the other argument. You don't want to make these games physical for PlayStation because that costs money to do that. Then don't. That's not going to stop. It's not going to stop people. Nothing would please me more than to have a PS5 copy of Halo. That'd be so funny. But if it's just digital, then it's just digital. You've already put it on PC. Who cares? But again, like we talked about before, and like the email, like they don't seem to ever talk to each other about what the plans are. And even when they might have a plan, they do not tell the consumer what it is. They just don't. They hide everything they can.
They hide everything that they can, and then somebody leaks something, and then they have to backtrack it.
Right.
And it just gets into this messy situation where you have one person say something and then another person walks it back.
You put out 4 games earlier this year on PlayStation, and by all accounts, they all did well. You put out the best pirate game on PlayStation in years, and it's a game you put out 7 years ago. Like
that game is 7 years old, and it's sold how many copies on PlayStation?
It was over 1 million, wasn't it?
I think so. It was higher than that.
But that's
what I'm saying. Master Chief Collection is 10 years old.
And that would sell
5 million
copies
easily.
You're talking to 2 people who own it on Xbox who would buy it for PlayStation, especially if it had crossplay.
Yeah. I would do it just because I would like to get those trophies.
Yeah, it'd be fun.
It's a weird thing. I would do it all again.
It would be fun to play through the whole thing just in a row, fresh. It's on a new system. Fuck, dude.
Exactly.
They need
to bring it up every. We're trying to wish it into existence.
I'm trying to get.
But I want it to happen.
Yeah, that's the number one thing that they could put over that would make money. Gears 5 maybe not, but a Gears remaster, sure, charge $40 for it digitally. Who cares?
I'm still surprised even getting through E3 time this year and stuff that Gears trilogy thing or whatever they kept talking about, that collection is still not a real thing.
I know.
So because that would be the other one I'd point at and look and go, okay, you can bring that to PlayStation.
That's the thing is you can just put compilation discs on PlayStation. Like why isn't Rare Replay on there?
No one would care about that. That's the thing.
And why there's got to be other stuff they could just easily just like click done.
How weird would it be if you brought Sunset Overdrive over to PlayStation? How weird would that be?
Just do it. Just pour
that one. That one would probably require a little bit more
take some work,
but still.
Give me Rise.
Do it.
How about Rise?
It's a weird one too.
It's a fun game. But
think about Dead Rising 3 is the only Dead Rising that's locked.
They cannot play on it.
Yeah. Crazy.
It's just come on.
Weird.
You can do this. You should do. If everything is an Xbox, dude. How funny would it be if you're marketing even a PlayStation's an Xbox?
That's what I told Matt the other day. I'm like, this is an Xbox. Like, so your fucking PlayStation is now an Xbox.
Yeah, your Switch is an Xbox. And it was my Switch. It was a Switch 2 an Xbox.
Maybe.
Should be. Ooh. What if it is? They like Nintendo. But
told me his Steam Deck is.
Yeah.
So.
But it's right there. It's ripe for the taking. And all it would do is generate revenue. And they've all but admitted that's the goal now. The goal is not systems. The goal is games, studios, revenue.
And from everything we know, as far as the games go, the games are still selling very well, and especially the ports and stuff to other platforms.
Yeah.
They're selling well. Like even something like Indiana Jones, a good majority of people are just going to subscribe and play that game through Game Pass, but there will be people that buy that for PC.
Yeah,
for sure.
So, and obviously when it comes out to PlayStation, everybody that's going to play it there will buy it.
You'll have to. So there you go.
But it will sell. So